Hey, what we're going to do is work on the second half of that science packet. Let's pull this up here. We'll look at number 1617. Let me pull it up for you. Hopefully you can see this. Genetically modified crops are plants used in agriculture in which their DNA has been modified using genetic engineering techniques. In most cases, the aim is to introduce a new trait to the plant which does not occur naturally in the species. For instance, specific corn strains have been genetically engineered to express agriculturally desirable traits, including resistance to pests and to herbicides. Corn strains with both traits are now in use in multiple countries. GM corn and other GM crops has caused controversy with respect to possible health effects, impact on other insects, and impact on other plants via gene flow. The table below highlights some of these risks. Hopefully you can see, it's kind of hard to see this image. Let's see if we can't pull it in a little closer. So this gives an example of the information I was just giving you from above. Number 17, magnetism. Magnetism is a force of attraction or repulsion that acts at a distance. It is due to a magnetic field which is caused by moving electrically charged particles. Magnets have two poles, a north pole and a south pole. Unlike poles attract, like poles repel. You've seen magnets before. You've played around with magnets where they either attract to each other or they repel each other. It depends on what the electric charge is. If it's the opposite pole or north pole or south pole. All right, let's look at the next one here. We'll look at 18. Cellular biology. Eukaryote, I'm not pronouncing that right. Eukaryote, I apologize. Eukaryote cells contain membrane-bound organelles, including a nucleus. Eukaryotes can be single-celled or multi-celled, such as humans, animals, plants, fungi, and insects. Prokaryotes, that's another definition of a different type of cell here. Prokaryote cells do not contain a nucleus, or any other membrane-found organelle. Prokaryotes include two groups, bacteria and another group called archaea. So you see the biggest difference between the two. A eukaryote and a prokaryote is the eukaryote had a nucleus, while the prokaryote does not contain a nucleus. And then it gives examples of the types of species or animals that would have a eukaryote and a prokaryote. Prokaryote was like bacteria, and eukaryotes are a little more advanced, such as they're multi-celled. They can be single-celled too. Humans, animals, plants, fungi, and insects. All cells share some common characteristics that make them living things. They contain DNA as a heritable genetic material, and they can reproduce. They transcribe DNA into RNA and translate RNA into proteins on ribosomes. They can also regulate transport across the cell membrane and require chemical energy for some cellular processes. Note, organelles are the biggest difference between bacteria and cells that make up the human body. There's a little image here. We have some overlap with some of the information here. It's kind of hard to see. Nucleate, cellular DNA, cell membranes, ribosomes, and these are some of the things they have in common, and these are things that they have unique in this side of the circle. You see where they overlap. All right. Let's look at the next one here. (19, 20, and 21). Can't pull that up. That's the wrong one. There we go. And 19, the Big Bang Theory. The idea of a Big Bang Theory is that all the matter of the universe was concentrated into one point, which then exploded. Evidence which supports the theory is that the universe is in fact still expanding, as confirmed by the red shifting of the stars. Genetics. Genetics is the study of heredity. Heredity is the biological process where a parent passes certain genes onto their children or offspring. Every child inherits genes from both of their biological parents, and these genes in turn express specific traits. Some of these traits may be physical, for example, hair and eye color and skin color. On the other hand, some genes may also carry the risk of certain diseases and disorders that may pass on from parents to their offspring. The molecular basis for genes is DNA. Thus, to study genetic traits, and diseases, we must look at DNA. Number 21, melting and boiling points. Below a melting point, a substance would be in a solid state. Above a boiling point, a substance would be in a gaseous state. For instance, below 32 degrees would be frozen ice, a solid. That's the freezing point, 32 degrees Fahrenheit or 0 degrees Celsius. Above 212 degrees Fahrenheit, water would be a steam vapor, a gas. So 212 is the boiling point, 212 Fahrenheit, and then 100 degrees Celsius would be the boiling point. Look at 22, 23, and 24. (22, 23, and 24). There we go. Atomic mass. Atomic mass is approximately equivalent to the number of protons and neutrons in the atom. It's their mass number. For example, hydrogen has 1 proton, 2 neutrons, and 1 electron. So the mass number would be 1 plus 2 equals 3. The hydrogen equals 3, has 1 proton, 2 neutrons, and 1 electron. So the mass number would be 3. Mantle convection. Going back to question 1, remember that the molten material moves through the Earth's mantle layer in a convection current. It's like this. Okay. Species interactions. A population of deer existed for centuries in a hilly region of England. The landowners decided to introduce sheep into the same area. Deer and sheep eat some of the same kinds of plants. After the sheep were introduced, the deer population began to decline. How could the decline in the deer population be explained? Well, going back to question number 6, remember that if 2 different species live in the same area and need the same food, they would be in competition. So there was less food for them to survive, and so their population dwindled. All right, let's go on to a different one here. 25 and 26. 25, 26. Wrong one. That's the wrong one. All right. Okay. Get a little harder to see these. 25, 26. There we go. 25, 26. 25. Kinetic energy is energy possessed by an object in motion. The Earth revolving around the sun, you walking down the street, and molecules moving in space all have kinetic energy. Potential energy is energy an object has because of its position relative to some other object. When your roller coaster is at the top of a hill, it has more potential energy than at the bottom because the Earth can pull you down through the force of gravity, doing work in the process. When you're holding two magnets apart, they have more potential energy than when they are close together. If you let them go, they will move toward each other, doing the work and process. Example, if you drop the ball from the top of a ladder during the free fall, the ball's kinetic energy would increase as it gains speed, and its potential energy would decrease as it moves closer to the ground. 26. Structurally, plant and animal cells are very similar because they are both eukaryotes. Both are beyond size. The main structural difference between plant and animal cells lie in a few additional structures found in plant cells. These structures include chloroplasts, the cell wall, and vacuoles. All right, let's look on the next one here. 27, 28. No. 27, 28. 27, 28. See, we can't find this. Right there. Okay. And you can kind of get the difference. If you see the image here, here's an animal cell and here's a plant cell. And if you follow these different things, you can see exactly where these different components of each parts of the cell, you know, from the animal cell and the plant cell, it kind of, here's a cell wall, cell membrane, mitochondria right here. There's some similarities between the two, and there's differences. Chloroplast is not, you know, that's a difference. Ribosome, you know, it's similar in both areas. Both the animal and the plant cells both have ribosomes. Both have nucleuses. Both have chromosomes. Both have vacuoles. Okay. 27, rock layers. The law of superposition states that in any undisturbed sequence of rocks deposited in layers, the youngest layer is on top and the oldest is on bottom, each layer being younger than the one beneath it and older than the one above. So that's how they can tell, you know, this is a younger layer, this gets older layer. See, this layer gets older, the deeper it goes into the Earth's crust, the older it is. You start finding dinosaurs and stuff way down here. And we can always tell what time period is between each of these layers. Deforestation. Deforestation is the permanent destruction of forest in order to make the land available for other uses. An estimated 18 million acres of forest, which is roughly the size of the country Panama, are lost each year, according to the United Nations Food and Agriculture. All right, let's go on to the next one here. '29. Okay. Deforestation is considered to be one of the contributing factors to global climate change. The deforestation of trees not only lessens the amount of carbon stored, it also releases carbon dioxide into the air. Elements, now this is the periodic table. This is kind of cool stuff. I used to have this memorized. Periodic table of elements. The elements that have the most physical, elements that have the most physical and chemical properties in common are those found in the same vertical column. This is horizontal. This is vertical going up. So in each of these vertical columns, these elements have the most things in common. Right here's the atomic weight for, like, for instance, for hydrogen. Well, let me give you an example here. These are this whole last row is called the noble gases. Very similar. I don't remember all of them. We got radon, we got helium here, we got argon, we got krypton. And then, you know, as you go this way, the atomic weight gets heavier. As you go this way, the atomic weight gets heavier too. See, 1, 2, 3, and it continues down. And over here, it's the same way. And across this way, it gets heavier, like 3, 4, and it just gets heavier. I used to know some of these, but there's chloride, oxygen, carbon, helium. It's just memorization. And atomic weight, again, we talked about before how you arrive at the atomic weight. It's only got one atom here. Hydrogen's also very unstable. Example, helium and neon share many similar physical and chemical properties because they are in the column or group. And they got that's what it's a noble gas. It's in the noble gases. Okay, let's go to the next one. '30. All right, let's pull up 30 if we can find it. Hopefully we can find it. I think that's it right there. Yes. Sexual and asexual reproduction. Remember from question 14, sexual reproduction involves producing offspring from 2 parents, whereas asexual reproduction involves producing offspring from only 1 parent. That's asexual. Thus, asexual reproduction produces offspring identical. It's also identical to the parents. But sexual reproduction produces offspring with traits from both parents. And that will be it for this end of the packet of science packet.